Greetings, friends and followers. This is Nurses Talking, and I am Dale Barzi. As always, if you like what you see and hear, subscribe, leave us a comment, let us know what you think. Here on Nurses Talking, we speak to nurses anywhere in the world and at any stage in their nursing journey. And today I have the very great pleasure of welcoming Jennifer Hoar out of Ottawa, Canada. Jennifer has had 20 plus years in labor and delivery with a specialty in perinatal bereavement. She's a PTSD survivor and she's looking into becoming a freelance writer. So, welcome, 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 Jennifer.
Thank you so much.
I appreciate you doing this. I love talking to nurses and I'm always learning stuff as I speak to nurses. When you think you know stuff, there's so much more to know. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
First of all, what brought you into nursing? What inspired you?
As a young teenager, I did swimming a lot. Um I moved up in the ranks, and then when it was time to decide if I wanted to be a lifeguard or not, I chose to do that. And so I was a lifeguard on a beach and a little wading pool and uh, a big pool. And so I actually rescued a child who was drowning, and that kind of brought on this thought of, okay, maybe helping people is something that I want to pursue. So, yeah, that's what kind of brought me into nursing.
Here you are, you wanted to help people, you had a taste of helping someone. You got into nursing, and what challenged you about it?
Um, I think as I went on, I started in oncology,
Mm,
which was, for those who don't know, it's cancer, and gravitated towards labor and delivery after I had my own child.
mm,
Um, and I feel like when you tell people you're a labor and delivery nurse, they think, oh, what a fun job. You get to cuddle babies and knit hats. And I always make sure to tell people that there is a sad side to labor and delivery as well. There's trauma, there's
yeah,
people who are sick, not
yeah,
just well people get pregnant.
yeah,
So I always make sure to tell people that. And then later on, obviously, like everywhere in the world, I'm sure, is nursing shortages and staffing protocols that
yeah.
aren't being met. And
Mm-hmm.
it just gets really, and then COVID.
Yeah,
COVID was something for everybody, but first responders, and
mm,
it was tough. It was tough
yeah,
taking care of people in their happiest and their saddest times, and they
yeah,
have no idea what you look like because you're in full PPE was
yeah,
really difficult.
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
so I think just as I went along, all of the traumas started to get to me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. I get it. I get it. I get it. You mentioned something just now. You said that people see labor and delivery as a really happy place to be, and yes, it is. But you also mentioned that it can be very sad. It can be very traumatic. And you specialize in perinatal bereavement, which many people don't even think of.
absolutely.
Because everyone thinks they're bringing home a live baby,
Absolutely.
a live healthy baby.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think what drew me to that was actually my oncology background. So there's
Mm,
some palliative care and there's some end of life care in oncology, and I think that's kind of what drew me to perinatal bereavement. You have, I don't know, the words to say,
mhm.
the difficult conversations you've had with people. I mean, it's obviously very different with end of life care with people who are
Yeah,
usually typically older
mine too.
as to a young mom who's having a baby who's not going to make it for reasons, maybe as the baby has life-limiting conditions
Hmm.
or the
Hmm.
baby has unfortunately passed away inside. And
Yeah.
and I think everybody knows somebody who's lost a baby or had a miscarriage, but you don't think about that as a labor and delivery job.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it's very much a part of it.
It's very much a part of it. I
Yeah.
absolutely agree. And even more so when it becomes more than a miscarriage, when it is a stillbirth or, the baby
Yeah.
has lived for a few hours or, anything
Yes.
like that. That's
Yes.
high trauma.
Yeah, it is very, very traumatic. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And
And I
unfortunately, my traumas are somebody else's traumas as well, right?
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And you just mentioned having the words to
Exactly.
many of us don't have the words.
Yeah, absolutely. And I actually tell the patients that there are going to be people out there who say things like, at least you can get pregnant, or, just those words that are going to hurt you. And
Yeah,
nobody means to hurt you. I don't think anybody
yeah,
has that malicious
yeah.
thought when they're saying it. And sometimes maybe saying nothing would be better. And just sitting in silence is better than saying those words, but those words are going to happen.
Yes, they are going to happen. They are going to
Yep.
happen. You see, people say, at least you can get pregnant, or you can have another one.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. 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 Yep.
Oh dear. Anyway, that really, and I have to say here that because I have been a midwife myself, so I understand what you're telling me. That takes a very special kind of person um to embrace that specialty because it is hard. It is hard.
Absolutely. Um, and again, I just gravitated towards it. And I
Mhm.
feel like still, even though um, it's traumatic and it's sad and it's really, really hard, I still feel like I was put here to do that. That was my calling. That's what I was passionate about. I honestly feel that.
I understand that. I
Yeah,
understand that because sometimes when you find your spot, you feel privileged to be in that spot.
absolutely.
So I
Absolutely.
get it. I get
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
And so you say that you're a PTSD survivor. Okay.
I am. And I know that people are probably thinking right now, well, it's all the losses that she experienced, but I think still that I would do that. I
Hmm.
think more of the trauma stuff that I saw was actually um unexpected deaths and unexpected. Unfortunately, these people come in knowing that they're going to lose their baby for the most
Hmm.
part, but there's
Hmm.
the unexpected things that happen in labor delivery, like a normal mom who comes in to have a baby at 40 weeks and finds out that the baby's passed away and has no preparation for that whatsoever, or a mom who's got her own illnesses and is very sick herself. And we've had mums die in labor and delivery.
Yeah.
And we were a level 3 unit, so we had a children's hospital next to
Mm.
us, and we had like a NICU that would take care of
Hmm.
22-week babies and up. So we had a lot of preterm labor where they just went
Yeah.
into labor and the baby came out at
Yeah.
whatever gestation, and then they have to choose
Th-
if they want comfort care or if they're going to try to resuscitate the baby, and all of these things are just so
Yeah. Yeah.
awful to be a part of witness.
Yeah.
It's really
Yeah.
difficult. So yeah, I mean, and from being a teenager, seeing rescuing my first kid, to being an oncology nurse and watching people pass away, and then to this, I think just 30 years of trauma just got me down. And as a nurse, you take care of others. That's what you do. And you don't take care of yourself. And I think that's what got me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And you mentioned not taking care of yourself. But first of all, sometimes many of us don't really know how because we think we're taking care of
absolutely.
ourselves and when we're not. And
Yeah.
very often also the institutions and the places that we work have no system, have made no provision for taking care of the staff that work in these traumatic situations. And so it's like a double whammy.
Yeah. You are preaching to the choir. It was quite a fight actually to get PTSD as a diagnosis as a nurse. I knew for probably a year that's what was going on. I would go into work and things would trigger me and I would cry and I felt like I wasn't giving my patients the care that they deserved anymore. And
Yeah.
then I'm a mom of three, so you go home and you are a mom. And so you don't
Hmm.
have really time for you. You're a mom, you sleep, you're a nurse. Like that was the
Yeah.
system that you
Hmm.
just go through and you get burnt out and you do forget to take care of yourself.
Yeah.
Um, and so I tried to get PTSD as like a workplace injury for myself. And it took a year for me to actually fight and prove that I had this. My institution did try to provide me with some mental health care, and I don't want to say anything too bad, but
Right.
I did have to go out and find my own therapist.
Hmm.
And he has been, I will say, a lifesaver because he has brought me through this very difficult diagnosis. But partway through, I'd say about 6 months in, I was actually forced to see another therapist
Mm.
because mine wasn't approved because
Ah.
I sought him out on my own. So I
Hmm.
had to start from ground zero and tell all of my traumatic stories again to another therapist to say, yes, you have PTSD.
Yeah.
And I feel like as nurses, a lot of nursing isn't necessarily frontline working, like a merge, see people off the
Hmm.
street and
Mm.
but in labor and delivery, we have our own triage system.
Yeah.
So we saw people off the street. We were frontline
Yes.
workers and it wasn't recognized. It was really frustrating and difficult, but and
Yeah.
it has actually inspired me to write a book. So I am in the midst of writing a book about it.
Good for you. Good for
Yeah.
you. Good for you.
Yeah.
Because as you say, I can understand why it was such an uphill fight for you. Because in general, the culture says, put on your big girl panties and let's go.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You know.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So um what is just one thing you think we can do to effect some change in this era? Because you know what? I think this starts all the way before we even become, you know, fully fledged nurses. It starts all the way back, in my view, from nursing school.
Yeah.
What can we
I
do?
just think there has to be some way to get better mental health care for nursing and recognize that we are frontline workers and we do get PTSD.
Hmm.
Like, I think it just has to be more recognized.
Yeah, yeah, and
Yeah.
understand that all of this, every nurse that I have spoken to, and I have spoken to more than 300 on this platform, every single nurse that I have spoken to recognizes that crying in the car thing, right?
Oh, 100%. Where else do you cry? You don't go home and cry in front of your children. You don't want to bring that trauma to them. They have no idea what I've seen and
Right.
done. Yeah.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And
Yeah.
and that
A
part
hundred
of you is
percent.
not what they're looking for.
Yeah. So how do you go home and unwind after a 12-hour shift, sleep, take care of your kids, and in 12 short hours go back and do it again?
Yeah. And not
Yeah.
only not only that, Jennifer, in the 12 hours that you're working, you do this emotional ping pong thing because here
Absolutely.
you're going from a mother who has a lovely, healthy baby to a mother who's just lost her baby to a mother whose baby you're
Absolutely.
trying to not go into labor to a mother,
Absolutely.
right? So you've done this emotional ping pong thing for 12 hours.
100%. Yeah. Yep.
And then you go
You
home
get
and
it.
do. Absolutely.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
absolutely do.
yeah.
Oh my goodness. What do you think you have learned? What is the biggest lesson you've learned as part of a perinatal bereavement committee?
Um, oh, biggest thing I've learned. Compassion, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mm-hmm.
empathy. These are
Mm-hmm.
just these are just things that I think most nurses have innately within them. Um, like you said, we bounce around from happy to sad in a 12-hour
Mm-hmm.
period. And
Mm-hmm.
how do you do that? Go into a room and celebrate with somebody, and then 2 minutes later walk into a room and maybe sometimes
And
cry with a
commiserate.
person.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, I'll talk a little bit about the perinatal bereavement committee,
Mm-hmm.
um, just to go there for a moment. Um, like I said, it was a passion of mine. So I did chair the committee of the organization that I'm a part of. And we met about 4 times a year. And we just talked about how we can make this horrible situation just a little bit better for people. So we came up with like books to give them and memory making. Like we would actually do like we would bathe the baby
Mm-hmm.
if that's what the parents wanted. We would give them a lock of hair. We would do hand and foot castings. I
Mm-hmm.
even did started doing some face castings if it was possible. So anything that a parent wanted to feel like a parent. They are
Yeah.
parents.
Mm-hmm.
They have a child, whether it's going home with them or not,
Or not?
they're
Yes.
parents. And I
Yeah.
wanted them to feel like that.
Yeah.
And I encourage them to talk about this baby and share this baby's name with maybe future children or their families. Or I think it's important to get the message out that these things happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
reality. So,
Yeah.
and obviously some parents wanted none of that. I mean, sometimes they didn't want to see the baby at all,
Yeah.
which I mean is their right. So I often sat in a room by myself holding a baby that maybe had a couple hours and I would just hold the baby
Mm-hmm.
until it passed away so that I don't know, I just felt like as a mom,
Mm-hmm.
that's what I would want to do for that child. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that child still very much needs that connection, that
Yes.
warmth,
Yes.
that loving space.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
Very important.
I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. I
Mm-hmm.
get it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What advice do you think you'll give to someone who wants to be a nurse?
That's a tough one. Um, I think just really take care of yourself too is a
Mm,
really important message because you're like in your 20s going into nursing and fun and games and then it becomes a serious
and it's
career.
real. Mhm.
It's real and I think no matter where you work there's going to be happy and sad things no matter what field you work in,
Yeah,
even
yeah,
at a clinic somewhere you're going to have good and bad days and you need to take time for yourself.
yeah,
It's important.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's absolutely important,
Yeah.
and I think that we can't stress it enough. We cannot
Hmm.
stress it enough, and I think
Hmm.
that we are really we need to really frame it in the context of your patient's well-being really truly depends on your well-being.
Absolutely.
Absolutely depends on your well-being. And
Yeah.
if you are not taking care of yourself, you are really, unwittingly or not, doing a disservice to the people you're attempting to take care of.
Yeah. And not only that, but your family.
Yeah.
Like you feel like, oh, if I take a day to myself, my kids will miss whatever. But
Hmm.
in fact, if you take a day to yourself, you become a better mother because you have
Yeah.
taken care of yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So what do you do to take care of you now?
Therapy. Therapy, like I said, he has
Hmm.
been amazing. But I definitely t like take time for myself, do things, even if it's by myself. Um, I have a boyfriend, so he has three kids and I have three kids, so it's a very busy life, but you find joy in the little things and like even just, I don't know, taking a bath with some candles or going for a walk in the evening or anything like those little things to take care of yourself are super important.
Yeah, they're huge. And I'm glad
Yep.
that you talked about the little things
Yep.
because yeah, we can do a lot of big things, but those little things for me are the ones that resonate the most, that are the most
Yep.
fulfilling, the most grounding.
Yep. Go somewhere and scream. Listen to music really loud in your car. Like whatever you can do to get it out.
For me, for me, one of the things for me, actually, I like to walk, I garden, stuff like that, and I love water. But
Yeah.
one of the things for me when I am really like tight is to just dance in my kitchen.
Oh, find music really healing.
It is,
Yeah.
because it
Yeah.
reaches somewhere deep in your soul that you don't even
Yeah.
have to identify. It just
Yeah.
goes there, you
Yeah.
know?
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah. So, I have one more question, and it's coming back to your writing because you're writing a book, which to
Yes.
me is we're on that same path together, but that's very cathartic. But
Absolutely.
yeah, it allows you to say things to paper that you won't say to people.
Absolutely. Yes, indeed. Yeah. So the
So
working
that's
title is Nurses Get PTSD Too. It's a work in progress, so I'll figure out if that's what I'm actually going to name it. But I feel
Mhm.
like that is a key message to get out that yes, we get PTSD. And I start right from my early years, like childhood, and I go through
Mhm.
the lifeguarding and how I became a nurse and the good times in nursing and
Yeah,
then eventually so there's like some humor and
yeah,
some trauma, but um, again, my traumas are somebody else's traumas. So I
yeah,
can't really write about those. So how do
right.
you portray that you've seen trauma without the details?
Yeah,
Right? So
yeah.
that's where I'm trying to figure out what I can write and what I can't write.
What you can't. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
I get
Yeah.
it. I
I'm
get it.
actually thinking there's going to be a chapter that's just for me where I will write out those traumas, but in the book it would be blank. Like this
Yeah,
chapter's just for me.
just for you.
And if I just write it as therapy for myself, but
So,
who knows, maybe down the road it'll be published and it'll help one more person. Like that's
yeah,
really if I can help one person, I'm grateful.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Are you thinking of apart from the book, expanding your writing for articles and stuff?
I'm trying. I don't know how easy it is in Canada. I've reached out to some people, like I'm cold messaging some people, and I have had a couple of responses. Most of them say volunteer, which is okay in the beginning. So I've had um, a Canadian Journal of Nursing reach out to me for a column, they said. And I've had someone else reach out to me for a blog. So, I mean, start there and then have
Yeah,
some writings to show people that what I've written. So,
yeah,
yeah, I'm thinking that maybe now that I'm in my 50s and I have some health issues, that it's maybe time to mm, veer away from the bedside and
mm-hmm.
see if writing will take off and see what I can do.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely. There is a lot of, I realize that there's a lot of information out there, but there is a lot of desire, I think, for good information.
yeah, yeah.
So, Jennifer, thank you so much for talking to me today. Any last words you'd like to leave us with?
Um, I don't know, just please take care of yourself. That's really the key
That's
message.
yes, that's a big one. That's a big
Yeah,
one. The word
yeah,
sounds simple, but that's a big one. So thank you for
yeah,
that.
yeah. Thank you so much. This was really actually a therapy session for me.
My
I hope it
pleasure,
was for
Jennifer.
you too.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. You
Yeah,
know what? As I speak to nurses, really, as I said in the beginning, I learned so much, and we touch on so many different aspects of each nurse, because I believe quite strongly that every single one of us has a story.
absolutely. Yep, absolutely.
It's been my pleasure. Thank you again.
Thank you so much.